Hey, hey! Yeah, guess what? We're starting a new album. I always like when we start a new album. What's the name of the album, hon? You remember?
Holy Rollers.
Houses of the Holy. She said she liked the title. I figured she might have remembered it.
Oh, the titles that go through my head. They're funny, though, because they come out as a salad. It's word salad.
Well, today we're doing Houses of the Holy, which is their 5th album of Led Zeppelin. By the way, I'm Mike, and this is Dev.
Hi.
We're music for busy people, if you haven't been here before.
Where you been? Happy to have you.
Well, I always do this when we start a new album. The purpose of our channel is to recreate listening to an entire album. So most of the videos we do are doing one album at a time. Sometimes we throw in some, in between albums, we throw in some stuff. But when we do an album, we do the whole album, and we're recreating just listening to it when there was no distractions, and you just put the album on, and you had the record sleeve and your headphones or whatever, and that was all you had. If I didn't mention this, we're in the middle of a Zepp-a-thon. So we've been doing pretty much nothing but Led Zeppelin since we started. Obviously that will change, but we're hoping to get through the whole Zeppelin catalog. One cannot dine on Zeppelin alone, although
Well,
some people do.
the people that we've been talking to, they definitely do.
We'll be doing Pink Floyd, we'll be doing other classic bands, probably some Rush and some other things.
I'm going to do Pet Sounds. That's in the future.
We're going to do classic albums, might do Pet Sounds, we might
Never
do...
heard that one all the way through.
Yeah.
Now that I'm into it, now that it's
Beatles.
oddly enough, like it really reminded me what the first album I was. And I wore that CD out. Yes, it was a CD. It was.
Now, good news for Dev here.
I like good news.
This album provides lyrics. She likes lyrics.
Didn't the previous one? At least
Only
a little
Stairway
bit?
to Heaven is the only
songs.
song
Okay,
we've done so
all right.
far that has had
I
lyrics.
do like lyrics. Hence
But I
the
think
word.
this might be the only... This is it, though, for lyrics, I think. I don't think they give lyrics out after this. I can't
Oh, really?
remember.
They're
This
just a
album.
one and done?
Well, this album is very different. Let's talk a little bit about this album. So they went for a different sound. They didn't want to be stagnant. They just didn't want to repeat themselves. So even though they had a massive hit with the previous album, for this album, they changed it up a bit.
What was the time span between two albums?
Like 2 years?
Okay, so that's about right. Like I figured if you would change it up if it's been a serious chunk of time, like 5. But 2 is
Well, I think they recorded
seems like
it
normal.
a year and a half after, but they didn't release it right away. They toured for a while.
Yeah.
And they probably played around with remixing it and whatever. They took their time, I guess. They wanted to still have that mobile studio in a remote place feel, but I think this album was recorded in a few different locations. This album has a different sound because they didn't want to rest on their laurels, as they say, and just do the same thing over and over again. So you're going to hear less blues, distorted kind of guitar. There's still going to be rockin' songs, but a cleaner sound.
We still have the weird stuff.
A cleaner,
still
I'm going to
weirds?
call it a more progressive sound. They definitely experiment. There's many different musical styles in this album.
Okay.
There's ballads, there's reggae, there's funk, there's 50s type a little bit.
Fun.
So they mix it up, but
That
in a
sounds
different
like
way.
them though.
There's a little acoustic too.
Anyway.
And there's more keyboards.
Okay.
I think it got mixed reviews when it first came out. And over time, people have realized that this is a great album. Even if when it first came out, people wanted more of Led Zeppelin 4, and they didn't get that. But it's still great. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, let's look at the album art because we're recreating listening to an album. That's all you could do was look at the album art when you were listening in the old days.
I didn't even know this was one of their albums. I really like the
That's the front
multi-tonal cover of it. Are they kids?
Yes, those are children. So I
With-
don't think you'd see an album like this today. In the 70s, this was
No.
fine. Naked children on an album.
Yeah. Where are they? What an interesting place.
That is based on a place. I'm not sure what place. If you open up the album,
I don't know. That's not a child. That's
No.
one of them.
that's adults. I don't think it's them.
One of them holding up a guitar?
No, that's holding up a person. That's a man holding up a woman or a child.
Really?
Or a child. Yeah, it's kind of small.
Weird.
It's hard to see.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Don't really
y'all,
understand.
70s
Again, there's no
kids.
indication of what this album is like the last album. There's no words on it at all. So you just got to know this is Led Zeppelin's album.
Okay, that's a cool cover.
If you were just buying this in the 70s, you wouldn't know. You would just like, okay, that's the album
That's
cover.
colorful.
This is what I'm going to be staring at while I'm listening.
Yeah.
Either that, actually, I remember staring at the lyrics a lot because for a change, they had the lyrics on the album sleeves. My recollection was more following along with the lyrics, which was a luxury because a lot of times you can't understand the lyrics on a Zeppelin song. Depends. We're going to be doing the first two songs on the album. The Song Remains the Same and the Rain Song.
Song remains.
You may not know these songs. You probably have heard the Rain Song. I don't know, but we'll see.
Maybe. If something says the Rain Song, chances are I would listen to it just because I love rain. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Houses of the Holy. Does it feel holy? Does it feel holy to you in whatever definition
It doesn't
you term
feel
as
holy to
holy?
me. They recorded a song called Houses of the Holy during this session, but they didn't put it on this album. They saved it for the next album.
That's fun.
They had already had enough. And I guess it didn't go as well with some of the other songs. I don't know. So we will be including the lyrics for this album, which is different. For the Rain Song, we're going to do like we did for When the Levee Breaks. We're going to show a performance. And this time we have the video live of Robert Plant and Jimmy Page with that band that they used for the Led Zeppelin Unledded in the mid-90s. So we are going to watch that for the Rain Song.
Okay.
So that's a bonus. The Song Remains the Same is the first song on the album. That's another song where Jimmy uses the double neck guitar in concert. Now, we're not going to show him doing that in this video, but after this album, we're probably going to be doing the Madison Square Garden live concert. So we'll be seeing plenty of live stuff from this album. Just not all of it during the album. We'll see it afterwards.
Okay.
What I read was it was originally intended as an instrumental. I think the working title was like some kind of overture, so it was like a lot of guitar, a lot of layered guitars, and it was just going to be an instrumental that led into the Rain Song. But then when Plant heard it, he was like, oh, this needs some lyrics. So he added lyrics and added his influence. So we have the song that we have today, which is excellent. Let's listen to it. Here we go with the first song on Houses of the Holy. The Song Remains the Same. A great positive opening. No vocals for a while. It's like fun guitar.
It's different from this previous one.
Great drumming, of course. Still building. More riffs coming.
It's a fun way to end it.
I think that was all Robert Plant, like all the backing vocals too. I think all the backing vocals are Plant on this album. The words don't exactly match what he sings when they do provide the words.
No, because he's improvising some of the other ones. Like what you have up there is the bass lyrics.
Right, like he wrote it down like, here are my lyrics, but then he doesn't necessarily sing it word for word that way.
No. Whatever the feeling is, the vibe that strikes him.
So this next song, the Rain song, there's a little interesting story behind that. I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly John Bonham was talking to George Harrison from the Beatles, and George Harrison was complaining that the Led Zeppelin never did any ballads. Rain song is pretty much a ballad. It was sort of a response to that. I don't know if he did this on purpose, but coincidentally, the first few chords are the same or very similar to the way Something by George Harrison begins. So like the first 2 or 3 chords are the same. Then of course it doesn't sound anything like it. I don't know if he chose that on purpose, but he did mention that.
It seems like everything that they do is on purpose with quite a bit of forethought. So
for those of you that play the guitar or know music, I believe it's like just like a major chord, then it goes into the same chord but in a major 7th, and then the 3rd chord is just a 7th chord, all the same root. What that means to those of you that don't know chords is that, let's say it's C major or G major or whatever, right? Let's use C as an example. So you'll be playing a C chord. Then the next chord drops down half step. You add the B flat. You add the B, which is a half step below the C. And then the 3rd chord, you change the B to a B flat. Those are the 7th notes in the C chord. So you'll hear one of the notes dropping a half step each time. All the other notes in the chord are the same. They have a lot of songs called the Something Song. At least 3 or 4. I'm trying to think of them in my head. I don't know. I can think of at least 3, but there's probably more than that. Oh no, I can think of at least 4. One thing I think is something that really speaks to this song, at least the Rain song, is that when I was a kid, I liked that song, and I didn't like songs like that when I was a kid. Oh, here's a slow song. I like that song. You want to hear him doing it 20 years later? That was fun when we did it for When the Levee Breaks, so I think it'll be fun to do it here too. It was called Unledded, I think. That was in the mid-90s, and then they did a whole tour. Page Plant and this band and an orchestra. I think this song has an orchestra on it. It's from 1994, I'm going to say. Led Zeppelin Unledded.
It is the springtime of my loving, the second season I'm to know. You are the sunlight in my growing.
Still has his wonderful hair.
So little warm I felt before. It isn't hard to feel me glowing. I watched the fire that grew so low.
See, he likes it too.
Robert likes it.
Vibrations of the room, all that sound.
Love that falling little phrase. It's an orchestra solo. Got the chills going. It happens at least once per song.
It is the summer of my smiles. Flee from me, keepers of the bloom. Speak
More chills.
Yeah, don't we all?
Bring it back.
These are the seasons of emotion. Like the wind, they rise and fall. This is a wonder of devotion. I see the torch we all must hold. This is a mystery of the quotient.
Toss the pick. What it must have been like them doing those songs after not doing them for like 20 years. Maybe
Like old
15.
friends.
And they must have really, they picked and chose ones that they really wanted to redo.
That's a good.
It was
that's
nice
a good
as a
live
Zeppelin
one.
fan to be able to experience that. It was a fun little journey and a good opening to the album.
Yay!
And no music for busy people video would be complete without us saying thank you. A special thank you to our patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for the continued support. And for those of you who would like to support us in that way, please check out our Patreon. There's a link in the description where we have extra videos and other things like that. And also want to thank those of you who have subscribed. We still need subscribers, people, so if you haven't subscribed yet, just click the little button for us. We would really appreciate it. The bell is optional, but that's there if you want to get notified whenever we post.
We like bells.
Bells are nice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all the comments and liking the video, that certainly helps as well. Feel free to share us around on social media if you'd like. Share our videos, put links wherever you want.